Winter backpacking can be an absolutely amazing experience. But if you're new to it or just getting started, let's be honest, it can be a little bit overwhelming or even intimidating. So in today's video, I put together 5 tips to help you get started. That's coming up. What's up guys, I'm Joe and welcome to Backcountry Treks. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for stopping by. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for the support. I really do appreciate it. Let's get started with tip number 1 and arguably the most important tip of this video. And that is, know the weather for the specific location that you're going to be at, both location and elevation. In other words, don't just check the weather for the nearest town or the area that you're going to be in and assume that that's going to be the weather as you gain elevation. This might be common sense for some of you, but for others, if you're not used to climbing mountains in the winter, as you gain elevation, the weather typically is going to become colder, windier, and just more harsh. Deeper snow, a lot of things can change as you gain elevation. What I do instead is use a website known as mountainforecast.com, and you can punch in a specific mountain that you're going to be summiting, and it'll give you the hour by hour weather for the elevation at the summit of that mountain and at the base of that particular mountain. The other thing that I've used that has proven to be very helpful is my Garmin InReach Mini. You use the EarthMate app that's compatible with the InReach Mini. It will send you, without service, the most up-to-date weather forecast for the specific spot that you are in, breaking it again down by hour by hour by hour. I had to do that recently on a winter hike that I did with a buddy Nick. The skies, not too far off in the distance, were black. It was going to be partly cloudy to mostly sunny. Those clouds were a little bit both intimidating and a little bit concerning, so I just requested to receive a weather update through the app. Within 5 to 10 minutes, I got that hour by hour update. There was in fact no chance of precipitation. What that did was help give us peace of mind that we know as we go deeper into the backcountry, we weren't going to get pummeled with a potential, snowstorm or whatever those black skies were. It blew out, sun came back out, and it was as what it said. So just know the weather for the area specific to where you're going to be at by using either your Garmin InReach Mini app or the mountainweather.com website. All right, tip number 2, test your gear before you get into the backcountry. You don't want to find out when you're miles from, anywhere, that the piece of gear that you purchased is not performing the way it was said to have performed. That goes for your layering system, your winter boots, socks, shelter, sleep system, all that. Test it out. Take it on a hike, take it on an overnighter somewhere local. If it's calling to be in the teens overnight, set my tent up in the backyard. My neighbors think I'm kind of crazy sometimes, but that's okay. Yeah, test your gear. Make sure that it is in fact going to perform the way that it says it's supposed to, and you don't find out the hard way when you're miles away from anything. That can be a really miserable time. Tip number 3 is don't wear cotton. Cotton, once it gets damp, takes forever to dry, it's heavy, and it does not do a good job of actually wicking the moisture off of your skin. Instead, I recommend using a polyester synthetic blend type material or a good merino wool blend. They do a much better job of wicking the sweat off of your body, which is mainly the base layer's purpose, is not necessarily just to keep you warm, but to pull that moisture off of you. When those materials do get damp, they dry a lot quicker. They have the antimicrobial properties, so if you're out for multiple days in that gear, they will tend to stink a lot less than cotton will. So leave the cotton at home and instead use a merino wool or polyester synthetic blend. Tip number 4 is make sure that you have a specific set of camp clothes or sleeping clothes. So when I get to camp, I'll make sure that I do all of my camp chores, set up my tent, process firewood, dig a cat hole for when nature calls in the next couple hours or the following morning. Anything that might cause me to elevate my heart rate or perspire even a little bit, I will do in my hiking clothes. And I don't change into my camp clothes until all of those camp chores are done. You want to make sure, and it's critical, to keep those camp clothes nice and dry. If you go to bed even a little bit damp, you're gonna sleep cold if you sleep at all. So make sure to bring a specific set of camp clothes and keep them dry at all costs. And finally, tip number 5 is what to do with your hiking clothes, because they probably are going to be a little bit damp from sweating, from all the activity throughout the day, the camp chores in the evening when you get to camp. What I like to do with them, my socks, my base layer top, whatever it is that might be damp from perspiration, I take them and I put them in the very bottom of my top quilt, in the foot box of my top quilt. The warmth from my body that is generated, that's getting trapped, does a really great job of helping my socks and my top base layer, sometimes even my hiking pants, does a great job of drying those out while I'm sleeping. So that when I get up the next morning, I pull them out from the bottom, they're no longer damp, cold, or wet. It's really nice to have dry clothes to put back on in the morning, obviously, when it's freezing cold outside. Now there's a million more tips and tricks out there that I didn't cover for the sake of time. I just wanted to stick with 5 for now. Hopefully these 5 have helped give you some knowledge that you didn't have prior to watching this video. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up or a like. I want to thank you again for joining me here on Backcountry Treks, and I'll see you on the next one.